Good morning. That, in fact, was not the Canadian Summit. That was the Denver. So, good morning. Welcome to another live RoadFS podcast. I am your host, Rod Puzey, and you'll notice that my little counterpart is not here, Jody. He is on a family thing, so he will not be joining us at all this week unless he decides to jump in, spontaneously. I'm here with Damon Gray from Owners Pride Car Care Products. How you doing, Damon?
Doing great. Good morning, Rod.
So where are you at physically in the world today?
Physically, I am in Summerville, South Carolina.
Ooh, so you're close to where some of the flooding and stuff is taking place.
Yeah, but honestly, we fared out much better than our northern counterparts. So it's nothing compared to everything that they've gone through or
Yeah, that's
going through, I
what I
should say.
understand, is that some of the people have get some really terrible stuff. So,
Mhm.
all of our thoughts and everything go out to those people that are dealing with that. And it's some tricky camera work you got there.
Hey, you like that? Crazy. I didn't think the gimbal would just give up like that.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it doesn't do it again. If it does, I'll
maybe
switch
it will.
stands.
That'll be fun if it does. So
Oh,
let's
whatever.
kick things off. Holy cow, we've already got comments here. Let's get some of those going on. So let's start off by asking you to kind of explain not just your journey, but the Owner's Pride journey, how you got to where you are today with Owner's Pride. And there we are. And actually, there's Mr. Jody Sedrick right there.
There it is. Yeah, for me, Owner's Pride itself, I mean, my background, been in the industry for about 30 some years. I started off doing mobile work, mostly, primarily, focusing on dealerships, doing paint touch up, minor body work, doing paint corrections before it was even called paint corrections.
Right.
And then I'm gonna have to switch stands. Like I said, we had that conversation. It was great when technology actually works, right? The way you want it to.
Jody says it's a Weeble, not a gimbal.
It's a Weeble, not a gimbal. Yeah. He's like, Damon, for the love of God, upgrade your equipment. I know exactly what Jody's gonna say.
No, it's he's gonna laugh, and if he were here, he'd look at me and I'd say the story of Jody and I having packing tape holding our phone up for one of our first podcasts, and it was doing the same thing, only it was going really, really slowly. So if in the background everything just kind of shifts down.
Dude, I wish it would happen slowly because it feels like I'm gonna give everybody and myself a seizure. You know? How's that?
There you go.
We'll just go with that angle for right now. Yeah, so no, I did paint touch up minor body work for dealerships, and knowing physically that I was going to be able to do that forever, that's when I started looking at building and offering detailing services and putting together a detail shop. I was very fortunate enough to have my son Logan with me at the time, and we began to develop the idea of Owner's Pride. What would be the detail shop that we would want to go see and bring our vehicles to?
Right.
And it was pretty much a family effort. My wife is the one who came up with the Owner's Pride title. Sister-in-law who developed both our logos from the beginning to our second one that we currently have. And then after opening the detail shop and calling it Owner's Pride in 2016, um, I realized that I really had to start looking at it as a business if I wanted to go from the back of the front or back of the shop to the front of the shop to out of the shop. And
Yeah.
now in 8 years out of the state. And I'm still involved with the shop there in Omaha. But also during that line or during that time, we offered up the product line in 2020. And that was just right before COVID. And so since then, it's been running a detail shop and starting and developing a product line and also just developing what we have today with our ceramic coatings and working with our installers. And I gotta admit, the biggest passion of mine right now is helping guys, helping our installers, helping detailers, giving them an idea, letting them know also about the tools that are out there, like you guys with your software, and how it benefits them and why they need these tools today if they're going to go ahead and get themselves from behind a polisher to behind a desk to
Yeah.
actually enjoying their lives.
Yep. And it was funny because there for just a second, I thought you were calling me and Jody tools, which is totally fine. You can do that. But um, so
I won't. Everybody else can. I won't do it.
So one of the things that I thought was really cool about the Owner's Pride products is that just the depth that you can go. I mean, you've got some really good, what I would call consumer friendly products, and then
Mhm.
you've got some other stuff that are not so consumer friendly that really need training. And one of the things that strikes me is that the installers of Owner's Pride, the few of them that I do know, are super passionate about the products. So you've got Ray Evans in Florida, and I know Paolo and Gary in Canada, um, and then we know Wellington and that crew down in
Yep.
Florida. And I mean, just J&G Automotive in Utah, which is one of our clients from way back in the day.
Yep. James
Um,
is a great guy.
yeah. Thanks, Jody. Have a good flight. um, so they're super passionate about the products, and I had never really gotten my hands on them until we went to the Canadian Summit. Now
Okay.
it's at Paulo and Gary's facility. Um, the facility is beautiful, and the
Hmm.
products, the way that they've got it marketed and everything, it is super, super showy is the word I'm trying to come up with. It's just that they've got it set up really nicely. So does Wellington. That facility is unbelievable down there in Florida. But the products themselves are, I think some of them are so easy to use that it's misleading. So for
Hmm.
instance, the what I call consumer friendly coating, I had my daughter do a ceramic coating on a brand new car. And her this is her honest reaction afterwards. My wife goes, "So what did you learn?" And she goes, "I'm pretty much certified." So, she she, um, she understood it, but I think the thing that was really cool about it was that it is easy to understand, it's easy to explain, it's easy to use. The kit comes with some stuff that not everybody does. Not everybody's providing, like the rags within the kit.
Hmm.
Uh, and, um, the little hanger to hang on your mirror that says that it's covered and all that kind of stuff. So what is the for you guys, what is the process when you're putting together that kit and that level of kind of the stages of your product? How do you decide what is going to be, this is going to be consumer friendly, this one's not?
Right. And I started installing ceramic coatings back in it was 2015, oh 2014, going into 2015. And the one thing that really got me about installing ceramic coatings was I could do everything right. And the one thing that always scared the hell out of me was the very last step when I was putting the coating on. Because if something went wrong, especially back then, if something went wrong, you were starting all over again.
Yeah.
So the idea of when we developed the product line was that coating shouldn't scare the hell out of you. You should know that you have some workability to it. And we really designed it to be that way. And we also looked at it too with our product line, professional grade products that don't get you into a professional problem. And that has always been a very huge mantra to us. So looking at like what you're talking about, the kit, we look at that not just as providing it, but as the person who's getting it. How can we make this easier? And we broke it down, and there were several things that we've changed over the years as far as bottle size to applicators to towels to the box itself. It's been an evolution, and I do think that that's one of the biggest benefits with us is we're looking to evolve, and to make things better. The whole idea is to be efficient. Whether you're the customer who doesn't have a whole lot of time on the weekends to do the DIY stuff, to the
Right.
professional who is looking to be efficient so that they can get more jobs in and be able to make more money. And like I said, to eventually get out of the shop and be able to have it run on its own.
Yeah, and I think that is when we were in Canada is the first time I had the opportunity to do the two part. And
Hmm.
honestly, I'm dumb enough that most stuff in automotive doesn't scare me. Sanding doesn't scare me. Polishing with the rotary doesn't scare me. Fresh paint doesn't scare me. Two
Right.
part coatings scare me, and I don't know
Hmm.
why. I think it's because I feel like that second step, as opposed to a single step uh, coating where you put it
Hmm.
on, you wait for it to flash, you wipe it off. And whether that's a coating that you've got to wipe off with 3 towels or whether it's got an 8-minute dwell time or it's got 8 hours, that doesn't seem to scare me. But that two-part, because that first step is like it's not, it doesn't feel slick. Slick. It doesn't
Yep.
feel slick going on. So what is it about that first part that makes it so feel like that, feel grabby, if you will?
Yeah, so if you look at it too, and you're talking the OP Select, it's a 9-year coating that we warranty, but it also has self-healing capabilities to it. So it has to be thicker. The other thing that's unusual about it is it's a wet on wet bond, and that's why you got that stickiness to it. So you want those two parts to go ahead and come together, and then you want to go ahead and be able to knock it down. And that's why you have some of that stickiness. Now, we used to have a two-part 7-year coating. The OP7 was two-part, and technology finally came around to the point where, okay, we no longer had to do it because I'm just like you. Uh, was not the biggest fan of a two-part coating. But when I saw the benefits of being able to have a two-part coating that actually had some self-healing capabilities to it, that's when I'm like, okay, the stress is worth worth the mess, and it just ends up being a bulldog of a coating. It's
Well,
great.
and I think that's the key to it is that coding, that second step, and that's where, like I said, I hadn't had an opportunity to get my hands on it until then. I was like, "Oh man, here we go," and then you put that second step on and it knocks it down, and it kind of alleviates the issue or the
Hmm.
concern that that I had with it. Now, the other thing
Yeah.
about is the trainers. So all of them that I mentioned earlier, I would, those guys are fantastic.
Hmm.
Um, Paulo and Gary are, they're not just they're not just colleagues. They've become friends of ours. They're fabulous people. Um, their families, they've entered, they
Hmm.
welcome us into their homes. I mean, they're great people. And I think that is one of those things where you don't have to reveal the secret, but I don't know how OP gets all the really good guys to come on board. But that's what it seems like has happened. I mean, you guys have some fantastic, I can't tell you how many hours Dan and I spent just chatting in the evening at the
Yeah.
Colorado summit. Dan Williams and I just sat there for hours talking about business. And I think that's what I see as the difference. Coming into learning about OP and some of the other products out there in the industry is that some people are really focused on uh, making money for themselves, and other people are
Hmm.
focused on helping businesses grow, which is, I think, why Jody and I kind of migrate that way because that's our entire thing is let's help somebody grow their business. That will help us. And again, that's what's going to make us, um, everybody grows. We're all going to make money. We're all going to do well, and everybody's going to grow. And Billy with the fantastic leadership, I think that, yeah, Billy, I agree. The leadership's fantastic. The products are fantastic, and the support on them. Um, so, how? Why do you think it is? This is a trick question here. Why do you think it is that so many other companies in the industry don't do that?
My honest opinion is going to be the fact that most companies are originating from out of the US.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest. We are American made. Everything was designed and developed in Omaha, Nebraska. It doesn't mean that we went ahead and chemically put everything together there, but having a detail shop in Omaha allowed us to have that hands-on facility where what was taking place in the lab and with the chemists, we're actually able to go ahead and give real life input into it. Um, I'll be honest with you, like with Eco Wash, our rinseless wash, the by the fifth batch, really liked it. I mean, like this is it, we're good. And then talking with the chemist, he's like, yeah, he goes, just try it through a foam cannon. I'm like, why do I want to put it through a foam cannon? Nobody, this is, again, this is before 2020 even. This has been 2018. I go,
Yeah.
nobody puts a wrench through a foam cannon. He goes, all right. He goes, I took what you said to heart. He goes, I try to make sure that as we produce these and work together, that the chemicals themselves work as employees. He goes, so we went ahead and we changed some things around. So now when it's agitated by air, it foams. And in that foaming form, it stays on the surface longer. Gravity doesn't pull it down as quickly, so it can work a little bit longer on the surface. He goes,
Yeah.
it's an option. He goes, I know you think it's a gimmick or whatever. He goes, but it's an option. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I like. I like the fact that it's an option and it can be used in a different way. But we look at it as how can, with our product line to even with our own people, how can we create more efficiencies with one another and help in that way? And we've been able to do that and use Omaha as a perfect example. That shop in Omaha does 250 appointments a month. Now, out of those 250 appointments a month, they do 50 to 60 coatings a month.
Wow.
So that's a lot of coatings that we're putting on. And if you look at that shop, it is going to have about, oh, roughly 230 some 5-star reviews, over 300 5-star reviews on Facebook, 10,000 followers on that page, and 10,000 likes. It's all organic. That's the other thing that's about us. It's real.
Yep.
We're organic.
Yeah.
And I think being real and being organic is it has attracted other people that are like-minded. You talk about Paulo or Dan Williams. You know, you look at these guys, and they are very real people. And the idea behind everything is the rising tide, raises all ships. And if our installers don't succeed, we don't succeed. And how
Yeah.
can we help them?
Yeah, and I think that is, there's a few companies out there that are like that, and I think that's one of the things that Jody and I in particular really try to focus on. It's like if we can't help a company succeed, it doesn't matter if they've given us money because they're just going to go away. And
Right.
so, it's funny because a lot of companies out there don't get that. They feel like, well, I just got to get that next customer, that next customer. But the thing about it is, if you help somebody succeed, they're going to be a customer for life. And that's what I'm more concerned with in on my business is we want people to be around with us forever.
Hmm.
And then it just helps us grow. Whether that means they're using our software or not. I have friends all over that don't use my software. But that's okay. They're using something, and
Hmm.
that's what's important. And then every shop has got multiple products in it, right? I
Right.
mean, everybody's got that secret sauce that they're like, okay, we're having a problem here, and they're going to have the logo of whatever company they're repping, but they've got that,
Hmm.
you know, and whether it's lacquer thinner for paint overspray or whatever it is.
Right.
Uh, so let's talk about some business stuff because I feel like that is a real missing aspect in the industry is to try to
Hmm.
help people in business, but it's also, in my opinion, one of the things that people are the least likely to accept is business advice and help and direction. So explain, because I've seen it in person. I've seen it at all the shops I just mentioned. Explain how you guys help not just with a product, but with their business. Somebody's setting up a shop. I'm a new guy. You're gonna get me with one of your installers. I'm gonna take your course, but how do you help me set up as a business?
Yeah, as a business, of course, one of the things that we point out, we talk about CRMs. So, of course, we use you guys as an example too. Unfortunately, when I first started our shop back in the day, didn't see you guys around in
Oh,
2016, 2015, 2016. So I shouldn't say my son began to look for CRM and POS systems. So the CRM and the POS system that we use is actually designed for hair salons and yoga studios. It's called Vigaro. And the amazing thing with this is this gave us the ability to track our customers, not only track our customers, but hopefully what we really wanted as an end result was to provide a better service for our customers. And also it helped us keep everything in line. So these are some of the things that we mentioned to them. The CRM. We also talked to them as far as the efficiencies.
Okay.
With our products, my son, his biggest thing again was to make sure that every product acted as an employee. Well, that's great, but you can't have an employee just do the job by themselves. Employees typically need to work as a team. So that was the other unique thing about the products and the product line is they can work together. And by being able to work together, it creates greater efficiency. So if you're doing a decontamination wash, you can use Decon X, and you can go ahead and use our mineral remover, Spotless, and also our Eco Wash as a rinseless. So they all work together at the same time. So training them on efficiencies is another thing. The other thing that we talk about in business is some of the very basics. Like one, you got a voicemail, don't let it get full.
Right.
You return calls. The customer is actually more important than the car itself, because honestly, people are going to remember how you made them feel, not exactly how you polished the car. That's really going to be impactful on your customer. It's not just polishing the car, and we try to point that out too. And looking at that kind of makes them think past the paint, because when you're polishing a car, you're less than 2 feet away, and you can get lost in the paint. And a lot of guys enjoy that, and I understand it's therapy, but that right there is not going to go ahead and contribute to a successful business.
No, and I think the key to that is to get people to understand that um, you don't. I come to you. I've got a car, right? You
Mhm.
want to take care of me, make me feel comfortable, and my car, so that on average in the U.S. we don't keep cars more than 3 to 5 years. You want me to
Correct.
bring the next one and the next one and the next one. I met a sales guy at a dealership. This is true. He works at a particular dealership. I have bought 5 cars from him, not
Hmm.
from the dealership, from him, because he's a good guy and I can call him and tell him. So I've got 3 daughters, they all drive, and I said, "This is what I want. I want this car with this low of miles, and I want something clean. I don't want a POS. I want it to be clean." And in 3 situations, he has come up with a car. He says, "Hey, we just got a trade in. It hasn't even been washed, but you got to come see this car. It's really in good shape." So we've gone down there. We've looked at a couple of them and turned them down, but like I said, I bought
Hmm.
5 cars from him. So people are buying you. They're not buying your product. They're buying a solution to something that they see as either a problem. In the high end world, it's not a problem. It's in their mind, it's a necessity. Sometimes it's a pride thing. Um, Again, owner's pride. I keep lifting this every time I say something, either slick or owner's pride or so
As
the
much as you want.
yeah, it's awesome because I think that kind of let's take Jamie again. Jamie, I've known Jamie Gonzalez. I mean, he's been using our software forever, so we've known him for a long time. And he is just that is his goal is to take care of his client. It doesn't matter what the need is. He's going to take care of them. We were describing this the other days. You want somebody to call you up and say, "Hey Damon, that F-350 I've got. Yeah, I know you guys don't do this, but what do you recommend for tires?" You wanna be
Hmm.
their automotive consultant. That's the kind of relationship you want. So, I think that's what people, they pass that up. And another thing that, you to me, that's really important in business is the follow-up with your customers. Like you said, don't leave a voicemail full. Follow up with emails, text messages, voicemails, all that stuff. And if you've got a CRM or software that can do that for you, that can make those follow-up pings. Hey, you've got an appointment in 3 days. Hey, you've got, here's an invoice. Hey, please go out and do a Google review.
Hmm.
Those kind of touch points are invaluable. And technology now can be that employee that works 24/7 that doesn't ever take a vacation. It's never sick,
Correct.
So take advantage of that stuff. So let's talk just a minute more about products, and then we'll go into something else. One of the things that Richard
So,
Hutchins mentioned was the labels, and one of the things I like about Owner's Pride, my personally, is that it doesn't just say Owner's Pride Slick Quick Detail Spray. It explains what it is. It shows how to install it. It has directions. It has all the cautions, and then what do you do if you get it in your eye? It's very thorough in a very small package, but
Mhm.
I think a lot's gone into that. So, um, to me, that just shows a different level of care, because I've seen products where people don't even have a SKU on their label. They don't have a barcode.
Mhm.
It's just like, here's our stuff, you know? And so again, go into speak of the devil himself. There's Mr. Paulo. What is the process that you guys go through for something, as we call it, simple? I know it's not simple when you're in business, but something as simple as a label. What kind of goes into that process as a business?
There's nothing simple about that label. That one, that one is actually a hologram label, and typically has to be printed on twice, so it takes twice as long to go ahead and create it. And when you have something like that, you try to minimize as much of your mistakes as possible. Not saying that once in a while there isn't a typo or whatever, but if to me, if you're going to go into so much in depth about the product itself, then the packaging that you're trying to sell to somebody should be just about as in depth. So it should explain ratios. It should explain installation. It should say these things because again, if I can provide that, then it's more efficient for whoever's using that product. They don't have to go look online. They don't have to go check out a YouTube video. Not that I don't mind doing that stuff, but I also know that the one thing that you will never get back is time.
Yeah,
So when I talk about efficiency, that is more so what it's about. It's not just about money. It's about time. And being 52 years old, I can tell you that is the only thing that makes us all equal. We all get 24 hours a day, and that's it. What are
yep,
you going to do with that 24 hours?
right.
And I don't like my time wasted. And I really don't want to waste our customers' time if I understand some things, aren't necessarily perfect all the time, but we really try hard not to waste people's time.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. Is it's not just that. Yeah, I know it's an age old adage of, time is money, money is time, all that stuff.
Hmm.
It's true, but a lot of that comes down to efficiencies. I was talking with a client yesterday, and they just got into tint. Um, and he's like, the first job took me like 6.5 hours. I lost my butt on it, right? And he's like, but the next one I'm able to get it down and get it down and get it down. And I think
Hmm.
that's is all about efficiency. So whether you're talking about a product or software or literally the way that you set up your environment, and
Yep.
people I don't think don't understand that. So I see people do this all the time. Some of the people that actually I think he's still on the podcast, but like if you watch some of the people that do videos on trainings, like Billy Bogus, um,
Hmm.
his stuff is all sitting there. There's not a lot of running off the camera and coming back on. Even the video that you guys did the other day with in Dan's driveway.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason he ran off camera was because he got a different product. He got something else that he wanted to show. All of his stuff was laid out on a table. That's just efficiency. I have a cart. I have a cart that sits next to me when I do it. I have if I'm doing a big job, I have sawhorses and I have a table on top of them where I have stuff on the opposite side so that I don't
Hmm.
have to continue running around. I will put multiple products out, one on each side, multiple pads on each side so that I don't have to run around. Um, and it's little things like that that save you so much time and money. And that's what I don't think people
Right.
understand is that um, money, the money that you're not thinking about is how many times do you run around that car? How many times do you need to, go back to the chemical cabinet and get stuff out of there? So um, we're gonna do something here. We talked about this earlier. Damon knows what's coming up, but you guys have all heard of the one chip challenge, right? So I don't know if anybody's heard of the one chip challenge, but um, this is the one chip challenge is this nasty ass hot uh pepper chip. And I'm going to show you that business is kind of like the one chip challenge, right? So we can take this and we'll do it live right here.
Hmm.
Now, At this point
It's
on
like being
most,
on Hot Ones.
yeah. So most of the people that do the one chip challenge at this point, their ears start burning. They go into seizures, they throw up, they do whatever because they're this Carolina ghost pepper thing. But on ours, instead of one, we're going to do two. So my point with this is that you can portray what you want on the internet.
Mhm.
So anybody can go out on the internet and portray that they have the perfect setup and that this is how I do it every time. And when the rubber hits the road, whether you do that way or not, you actually have to come clean with yourself. So obviously, that isn't one of those Carolina Ghost Peppers chips. Okay. This is not the
Right.
one chip challenge. This is a company that their chips look exactly like the one chip challenge, but they're not. So, I could do this off of this show and I could put that in my mouth and act like I'm dying. Oh, whoa, ah, get all these
Right.
views because, oh my gosh, he's doing the one chip challenge. I'm not. Business is the same way. You can choose to spend your time portraying yourself out there like you're something that you're not, or you can look in the mirror and come clean with yourself and say, what do I really need to do? I don't need to fake it.
Mhm.
I need to actually do the things that are important, which is caring about your customers, taking care of their vehicles, and going the extra mile. And by that, I don't mean you're going to go ahead and do their detail for $50. I mean, they're going to pay for a correction and a coating, and you're going to go ahead and do the taillights and the headlights. And they're going to love you for that. And I was talking to Tate and Trouts on here. I was talking to Tate at a training, and I always do the headlights and the taillights. You know why? Because I'm lazy and I don't want to tape them off. It's easier just to polish them
Right.
out than it is to tape them off. But it's an extra. And so your customer sees that little extra as something that is beneficial to them, and it does nothing more than make you a great person to them. There it is. Undersell, over deliver. Under promise, over deliver.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing is Damon's AI generated. Actually, it is, Billy. Let's be honest. What I did is I went out to AI about 5 or 6 years ago, and I said, "Hey, Chat GPT, create a business that cares about their customers, does great products, great labels, and has great people using it." And then, boom, Owners Pride popped up. So,
Yeah.
so that's the thing, and that's Mike is another one. Mike's Marine Care. Met Mike last year, and just a fabulous guy that really takes
Mhm.
care of his clients, does a fantastic job. But that is something I think that's missing. When everybody talks about what, oh my gosh, America, what are we doing? What's going on? I think that taking care of our clients is one of the things that's missing. And when you take care of your clients, they're going to take care of you. So
Exactly.
a couple of things in the future realm here. Are you guys going to be at SEMA?
Not this year. No,
Okay,
we won't be at SEMA. No. We do plan on having a pretty good presence at MTE.
awesome.
I'll be very honest with you. I prefer MTE a bit. It's just it's closer, And what I mean by closer is you get to see your installers,
Yep.
your customers. You're able to personally answer questions. I really love the education. To be able to go ahead and take a couple spots and do a class and talk about what has made not just OP a success, but I mean our shop, because that's where it all starts. It all starts back in Omaha. Without the shop in Omaha, there would have never been an owner's pride product care line. But I think that's also where it comes with the customer service part and understanding that when somebody chose us
Mhm.
with the second biggest purchase that they're going to make next to a home.
Right.
And that's how we've always looked at it. And it's not just a car. This is the second biggest purchase that most people make next to a home. And, might not have been the color I would have picked, but hey, this is theirs. And what can we do to go ahead and help them and make sure that they enjoy this product that they've bought?
Yeah. And some of it to me, And I appreciate that. There's a lot of people, I think, I ask the SEMA question all the time because there's a lot of times people will or won't go to SEMA.
Mhm.
Let's look at Richard. Some think that the saying underselling and over deliver, why not just sell what you deliver than not having to remember what you said? Well, I agree. And the thing about that is I love a statement that Kirk Evans says, and he relates it back to an American fast food restaurant, back to Burger King. It can be any of them.
Mhm.
But when your clients come to you, they expect the experience of whatever you are. Let's call it a Big Mac, right? They come to your
Right.
shop, they expect a Big Mac. You're going to deliver the Big Mac, but you're going to give them extra pickles, right?
Mhm.
That's what the under promise and over deliver is. Because you want them to keep coming back and getting that same level of service. And I talked to a client yesterday. He was having a really hard time because he's had a really rough time trying to keep employees.
Mhm.
Partially because I think it's just an industry issue, but partially because people they don't see the they don't see the the value in teaching what your Big Mac is, right? So let's say
Mhm.
that I'm just I'm business owner and I'm so concerned and everybody's got to do it my way. Well, they can get the same result. That everybody's going to find their own way. One of the reasons we do this is to protect vehicles. So we're
Mhm.
protecting the car, we're putting a ceramic coating on it, we're doing PPF, we're doing whatever we're doing. The main goal is to protect that customer's vehicle, and then as soon as it walks out the door, we want to have done such a great job that they send 3 friends our way and they bring their husband's car too.
Fair.
So, in order to do that, you have to provide the expectation of quality. And the same thing goes with you guys and your products, right? Expectation of
Mhm.
quality is always there. If you've never seen the box that a ceramic coating comes in from Owner's Pride, there's an expectation there. When I open the box,
Mhm.
I expect certain things. And it's cool. The first time you open it, you're like, wow, that's a lot of stuff, right? The
Yeah.
bottle has its own little area, everything, the names on the outside. And it's not just for marketing. It's actually really helpful because it tells you which product you're using, whether you're using Pro, whether you're using the two-part stuff. You know what it is. There's directions on it. But I think what that does is it sets up an expectation, a level of expectation of what you're going to get. Even the word ceramic coating and the years that we say it's going to last is an expectation.
Fair.
So the under promise over deliver is, let's say that you produce a 5-year coating. I can already tell you guys have tested that, and that coating probably lasts 6 to 8 years. But your expectation is a 5-year, so that at 6 years, if they have done nothing else to that car, it's still going to have hydrophobic tent properties, and it's still going to perform. And they're going to go, "Wow, that's really cool." It
Mhm.
outperformed the promise, as opposed to this will last the rest of your life. And I think a lot of people oversell, especially on ceramics. They oversell it.
Yeah, that's honestly when it comes to ceramic coatings, it's very difficult today. I compare it to this. If you go on WebMD and you search on a cough, more than likely you got about 48 hours to live. That's about it. I mean, that's WebMD for you right there in a nutshell. Now, if you were to go ahead and Google ceramic coatings, you're going to see everything from being snake oil to being bulletproof. And the truth is, the truth lies somewhere in the middle of it all. But there's so much disinformation out there. Trying
Yeah,
to make sure that they have the right information creates the right expectations. And we really do. We try to go ahead and present the right expectations. And that was the other reason behind the product line too, is be able to have products available so that the customers themselves can maintain the coding,
yeah.
and try to keep things as simple as possible when it comes to the explanation of what this coding can and can't do. But it's very difficult to get your message out when you have so much disinformation out there and so much misleading marketing.
Yep, yep. Mike's from Mike's Marine Care's got a really good point there. Why ceramic coating is hard to sell around here is because when it first came out, it was oversold, and I think
Hmm.
everybody's looking for that silver bullet, right? It's like this
Right.
is the thing. This is the fountain of youth. It's going to turn your 72 Datsun into a Corvette. Um, for a while on one of the I was on this committee, and they wanted to advertise for detailing, and they wanted to have a yellow. I think they wanted to have a yellow Camaro go through one end, and when it came out the other end, it was a yellow Corvette, and everybody was like, "Absolutely not, absolutely not! You're overselling what it can do.
Hmm.
It's not a miracle. It's not going to fix." You cannot ever, ever, ever go back to the first day something rolled off the line. And you can stop time or slow it down, and that's what we're trying to do. Like you said, it's the second biggest purchase most people can do in
Hmm.
their life, especially if you're buying a new pickup truck in the United States. If you buy a 3/4 ton four-wheel drive diesel truck, you might as well mortgage your house.
Yep.
So let's look at these couple of these comments. Whenever I ask about longevity, I answer with how long are you going to maintain it? Correct. That is absolutely
Hmm.
right. The ceramic coating will only last as long as you maintain it. One of the reasons that I took my wife's car and I put a ceramic on it is because my wife is she's very honest. She will not hand wash a car. Period.
Hmm.
Won't do it. Now, she bought a new car. I put a ceramic on it, and I went out of town, and I thought, well, I know it's going to be there when I get back. She's going to have run it through the car wash. She did, except for some strange reason, now that I put a ceramic on her brand new car, she took it to a car wash, she sprayed it off, and then she foamed it, and then she sprayed it off. And she said, all the water just ran off. So I just dried off the windows and drove home. So she
Hmm.
didn't run it through the scratch and brush. And I've been married to my wife for 35 years. And all of a sudden, she hand washed a car. So kudos to OP. That's a personal thing for me, but I've never had her do that. So it was fabulous, and I think that is I think it's a pride thing. Again, owner's
Hmm.
pride. Great analogy for people with cars. Um, but she actually has a lot of pride in that car, and once we ceramic coated it, it just shines. It looks great. So let's see. All people want to focus on is selling, detailing. If people learn how to run a business, the detailing world itself, because it would become an owner. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. There's so many people,
Hmm.
Richard, that don't focus on business, or that reject business advice, unless somebody is super flashy and they come across as, you know, I don't know, God's gift to the world. So what
Yeah.
is your couple things advice to people that are starting out a business? What are some of the things you would give advice to somebody that's young, that's starting out a detailing business?
Yeah. One, I would say you're starting out on a journey. You know, you really are. You're starting out on a journey, and you're going to start off with so many hats. You're going to be doing your marketing, your customer service, the application, the follow up. You do all of that. Um, and I see a lot of guys, what happens, they want to hold on to those hats. They're not willing to give them up because nobody can do this as good as I can myself.
Yep.
And what I would say is start looking at what makes you so good at wearing that hat. And then once you figure out what makes you so good at wearing that hat, write it down. Create a standard operating procedure, an SOP. And once you create those SOPs, now you can put yourself there. And that's why we have our checklist at the shop.
Yeah.
The checklist is me. These are the things that I want to make sure that are pointed out. But I had to give up that hat. Does that mean that the person that is going to be wearing the hat is going to do it exactly like me?
No.
No. And to be honest with you, I don't want them to do it exactly like me because I would rather have a different set of eyes on this because I don't know everything. There's something I could have missed, and I'm going to go ahead and take their input, and I'm not going to get butthurt about it.
Right.
Like you, I've been married for a long time. I've been married 34 years. My wife has completely stripped me of all ego. I'm done with it. I got nothing left, man. I got nothing left. She is I couldn't have asked for a better partner in life. Uh,
Yeah.
but I also realized that I need to be able to take other people's advice. And that's That's another reason why, I look at younger guys coming into the business like, listen, you need to be able to take these hats off. You need to be able to listen to other people's opinion. The other thing is you need to get away from just staring at the paint. You know,
Yeah.
this isn't all about the business. Just because you have a website, just because you have a business card, just because you have people coming in, doesn't mean you've created the business. You've actually created a very good job for yourself.
Uh-huh.
Which there's two ways you can take it in this industry. You can either create a business or you can create a job for yourself. Either one isn't that bad. It's just what is your end result? What is your goal?
Right.
And having a goal in front of you the entire time as you're taking these hats off also gives you an idea, where am I going to go? Where do I want to take this? And you also begin to realize you can't do it all on your own. I mean, I got great people. I've got amazing people in OP.
Yeah.
I got great business partners. I've got a ton of great talent with installers. But also when you look at, the stores in Orlando, Omaha, and in Canada, they're ran by incredible people that honestly, what I like is their passion isn't just about cars. It's about the customers, and it's also about business too.
Yep. And I think that is a couple of really, really key points there is be willing to take the advice. Like even on this show, right? You got Tate and Trout that says, he asked people how to maintain it. Mike picked up and said, that's awesome. That's what I'm going to use the next time. So now we've got somebody that's actually picked up a business tip from watching a podcast. So,
100%.
little plug out there. Tell all your friends and neighbors to go out and subscribe to the YouTube channel of RoadFS. That I think that's the key is giving people the success they need. So for instance, one of the things that we implemented this year in our software was the ability to attach an SOP to a work order.
Mm-hmm.
So we do it very specifically in a couple of cases in the airline industry, in the aviation industry, because you need to have a checklist going in and going out. The one going out is just as important to prove that you took a piece of tape off the static port or off the pitot ports.
Yes.
But it's just as important in automotive to have that. I mean, you've got people, you're bringing in an employee, like you said, here's how I do it. Here's the standard procedure. This is what we find in this shop is the most efficient. Let's say that I know that even shops that are not these glorious $1 million shops, right? You've got
Mm-hmm.
an area where you do wet work. You've got an area where you blow the cars out. You've got an area where you do this, where you do that. And you can see when people don't know your standard procedure, how less efficient it's going to be. We had training again in Colorado, Tate and Trout shop. We pulled a car in. We had a company come in and do a demo on interior work. And all of us that had been in Tate's shop literally shook our heads because they started blowing the car out and they blew it out inside the shop. And we're just shaking our heads. We're like, you just covered everything. But that's because they don't know his procedure, his standard operating procedure out the door. There's an outside area. That's where you're going to blow everything out. You bring it in. Wet work is in one area. Paint correction is another booth. Ceramic coating, all of that. And that has to do with efficiency, getting it in, getting it out. If you look at the detailing industry in general, the biggest innovations in the last, and we're going to age ourselves here, the last 20 years has been products that shorten the amount of time and make you more efficient, right? You got pads and polish combos that are one step.
Yeah.
If you know how to do it, you can do a lot of that stuff. I'm going to high five Mike right here. You can do it all with a rotary if you're real good.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got the right products and you've got the knowledge, you can do that. And I think that's the thing is getting that efficiency up there. Anybody that's done a test spot on a car and they started and they went, well, medium cut pad and a medium polish is doing great. I'm not going to go backwards. I'm not going to start with a wool pad and go with a really coarse compound. If I can get 80 to 90% of these scratches out with a medium pad, the customer is going to think it's fabulous. They're going to think it's the best thing they've ever seen because they don't stare at the paint from 2 inches away. So, let's go back to your products real quick. If somebody wants to try out some OP products, how do they get a hold of you guys? And what would you say if I'm just a new shop and I'm like, yeah, I want to try out your products? What are the couple of products, 3 to 5, that I would want to try out?
Yeah, and what I'll say is just, one, the ceramic coatings are easy to use. They're very easy and friendly, and you could go off on those. But when you look at the supporting cast of those ceramics, you would look at like a rinseless wash, like our Eco Wash. I mean, honestly, Dan Williams, you get him going on the Eco Wash, and he won't stop. Um,
He gargles with it. If you see him in the
oh
morning,
my God,
he
all the time. Yeah,
gargles with it. It's just, it's yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's like, dude, can you just do this a little bit because you have like a blue trail coming down? I'm kidding. Uh, but it's a great rinseless wash. It's also the our first line of defense when it comes to interior cleaning too, and the ratios are ridiculous. You're looking at 1 ounce to 4 gallons. We originally were at 2 ounces to 4 gallons until we sent it out to California for testing. Dustin Wharton worked with it quite a bit, being a mobile detailer at that time. Um, he's there OCD detailing. And he's like, you can't, you got to cut this down because it's 1 ounce. And I'm like, no, no. But, the fact being in Omaha where it's cooler temps, the 2 ounces, we didn't see what he was talking about. Eventually we were able to see, we're like, yeah, you're absolutely right. We need to keep this at 1 ounce. It's a great cleaner, does wonderful for interior and exterior for Jeep owner. It's about all you need to keep your vehicle clean.
Yeah.
The other thing, like our ceramic detailer, it's a lot of guys call it the pink salsa, the pink stuff. They love the way it smells, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
It is a easy to use water-based SiO2 that you can put on anything on the exterior. You're going to get a minimum of 6 months. You can even treat it as a water-based SiO2 and upkeep it for about a year. So that's also an awesome product. The other one, Slick, is like its little brother, and that's what. Yep, that's it right there. And you're looking at around 4 to 6 months protection with that. And again, you can use it on any exterior.
And it actually,
Tire
it's
dressing.
funny because we've had
Yep.
this. Sorry, that we've had this on our shelf for a while. And what's interesting about it is I've been playing with it too much today, but when you first take the bottle and you tip it, I can actually see a line, so that
Hmm.
it's actually coating the inside of the bottle, and it's a good product. I love uh, quick detail sprays for not just drying aids, but for clay lube. Clay
Hmm.
bar, whether you're talking bar or mitt, which I'm a big fan of the clay mitts for efficiency. But this is a great product for that. Couple of spritzes on that, man, and it is the grease you need for your for that. So
Yeah, and it's great protected.
gonna go to a question here. What would you just ask a consumer as the best thing to start out with as a DIY car care person? Um, I got my answer. You go first.
Yeah, of course, it always goes back to eco wash as a wash. Or if you're not a rinseless person, our ultra wash has got a ton of lubricants in it, and it's great. Second, you're looking for something for the interior as a cleaner. Spiffy is awesome. Uh, just a ton of surfactants in it. It's very good, and it's safe on everything on the interior. The second thing, or the third thing, as far as a quick sealant, would be something like Slick. Those three things right there it's like a quick car care bundle. If you're into your thing is tire dressing, we do have a water-based tire dressing. The wonderful thing about that, it doesn't turn tires brown. Sling is minimal. If you like the old school high gloss, you just leave it the way it is. If you're more so, hey, I just like that new black tire look, you just go back with old microfiber towel and knock it down. There's just a handful of products right there to be able to easily detail a vehicle if you're DIY at home.
Yeah. And I'm gonna throw mine in there. Mine was actually Eco Wash for sure. Slick is another one, but one of the things that I like about this is just another, again, I'm cheap as the day is long. Jody would tell you um that I am the cheapest guy. Can I get some free samples? Love it, Billy. Yeah. So one of the things that I'm just going to share it. My wife says that I'm so tight, I could hold a piece of crepe paper between my butt cheeks. That's how tight I am when it comes to money. So I
I don't
like to
need to see
find
it.
ways to do everything efficiently. And I will tell you guys, one of the things that I love, 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 and this is so stupid. I can afford to buy whatever microfiber towels I want, but I hate taking high quality premium microfiber towels and using them for junk. What I love is the fact that you can take an Owner's Pride box and put your you do your ceramic coating. I take the leftover towels and that's what I use to wipe off tire dressing and things like
Hmm.
that, because I'm not concerned that it has something on it. All I want to do is knock that down. I won't use it on the paint again, but if you need a
Yep.
grease rag, I've got so many old microfiber towels that when grease falls on the ground, I'm using a microfiber towel to clean it up, because I
Yep.
want to reuse those as much as I can. So I would definitely, and I really do appreciate the questions there. But Slick is a great product. I love it for clay lube. Um, I've taught my children, all three of my children have started out with convertibles, which is fabulous
Hmm.
because they run through a coat
Nice.
anyway. I've taught them that they need to do hand washing, and they love the detail sprays afterwards because it holds up for a couple of weeks. You put it on, it makes it shine. Bug stuff comes off easier. We have a lot of bee poop here in Idaho, which is just a
Hmm.
fabulous thing. Um, and so I think that is a wonderful thing if you want to start out with a product. I use crunchy coating towels to clean it. That's exactly it right there.
Hmm.
Tayton's Crunchy Bathroom. Um, the other one I would say is if somebody, honestly, if you have never done ceramic coating and you wanted an intro into a ceramic coating, the OP line is one of the easiest ceramic coatings to install. The dwell time is fantastic. I literally, like I said, I have my 20-year-old daughter do it. She's never touched anything like that in her life, and it was that it just easy, 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 easy. So
Well, and sometimes we think, especially in American thinking, if it's not difficult, it can't be good.
yeah.
And kind of like when it comes to medicine, unless that medicine, that cough syrup tastes like crap, it can't be good, right? But that was what I wanted to change. I wanted to change the fact that it can be efficient, it can be easier, and hopefully your daughter had fun doing it too.
Oh yeah, it was great. It actually was really great, and I enjoy doing that stuff with my kids. I've made them
Hmm.
polish their own headlights. I make them do their own oil changes. For years I've done that, and they enjoy it. It's time with dad, and it is. There's nothing hard about it. I mean,
No.
it was actually really fun because it was a 2024. My wife got one of those. It's a super super non-metallic paint. It's a Subaru Outback, what they call the Wilderness Edition, and it's kind of a
Oh,
blue,
gotcha.
kind of a blue color, but it's just pure paint. There is zero metallic in it, and they look great when they're clean. But they show everything. They show everything. And even my daughter looked at
Hmm.
it, she's, "Why are there all these scratches on this brand new car?" And I'm like, "Well, because when they wrap them from the factory, they do it with a burlap sack. They
Hmm.
must. That's how terrible it was. I actually had to do a two-step correction on the paint to get it to where we could do the coating. And I let her do some of that as well. But um, it's something that people enjoy doing. Washing a
Hmm.
car, I grew up watching my dad do that. He would go out and wash his cars, and he would spend the entire Saturday out there with a, can of old turtle wax, and this is way back in the '70s, and
Hmm.
and spend the whole day out there doing that. And I think he was probably just doing it to get a little solitude, but that's how my father and I started to bond, was over taking care of cars.
Hmm.
So, it's fantastic. You look at Paulo and his son. His son's fabulous in the shop and does just all kinds of stuff. You've got all kinds of people that are passing this down to their kids, and Billy's grandson can probably out polish anybody in the industry. And so
Absolutely.
get out there and do those things. I mean, I love the fact that there's new innovations coming out. I can't wait to try some of the newer stuff that I have not had that I've not used before. EcoWash is great. I've never put it in a foam can, and I didn't even know that was possible. So
Yeah. The emulsifiers, when they're agitated by air, they begin to fall. So you'll find in our house. I mean, Eco Wash cleans everything. Since I don't have a detail shop out here, I end up detailing out my stovetop. My stainless steel has been ceramic coated. The hood has been coated. The tile has been coated. Our counters have been coated. I use spotless on our showers, and then I use ceramic detailer on top of it to make it easy. My big sliding glass door that I have out here that my grandson just loves to bang his hands up again and put his little greasy paws all over it. Makes it a lot easier to clean. I got my glass cleaner here with the towel. I
Yeah,
basically detail the interior of my house now, is what I do.
that's awesome. And I think, you know what, the interesting part about it is there's a lot more people that are doing that for money. You know, you can
Yeah,
do
correct.
granite countertops and stovetops. And we did it at one time. We were at an event and we did it on the restaurant tables. We went around and cleaned all the tables and sprayed like a detail spray, a quick detailer spray on all the tables. And um, we went back to the same event the next year, and the people were like, "What did you do to our tables?" Because they stayed clean for so long.
Right.
And here's the best right here. Billy Boggess uses Eco Wash to clean his attitude. Man, that's
It
awesome.
takes a foam cannon. It takes a foam
It's
cannon to make that
and
happen, I tell you.
it has to be on an enema too. If you don't use the foam cannon as an enema with Eco Wash, when the bubbles start coming out of your ears, your attitude's clean.
100%. God.
Well, Damon, this has been awesome. I always appreciate talking to you and being around you. Super positive. Uh, People, if you have not tried OP products, you need to get a hold of some of them. They are really good products. And like you've heard us talk about, the support and the team behind it is, in my opinion, outweighs any of the benefits of the product. They're great products, but the team behind it is top notch. So get a hold of these
Yep.
guys. You know, you can get a hold of us. You've got, you know, your Paulo and Gary. Gary's not as outgoing as Paulo is, but he's a great person. Um, so thanks for everybody for coming on. Detail Enema.
Thank you.
There's more coming. Hold on, we got a ton of these. Holy crap! Second to none. Amazing. Absolutely. Thanks, Damon. Thanks, Rod. See you next week. Absolutely. So let's, before we sign off, if you're going to SEMA, we'll see you there. If you're not going to SEMA, we'll see you at MTE. We will be there. Absolutely. And we will be doing podcasts, and look for some other stuff between OP and RoadFS. We're going to be doing some business stuff together, as far as some Q&As and some advice for people that are not possibly gray haired and have been doing this for 100 years. So thank you for everybody. Tune in next week. And as Jody would say, see ya.